Oh, I want to do.
This says live. It says I'm live.
Yeah,
there.
I don't have it on my thing. Oh well. If it gives internet gives fits, I'll make stream.
Right.
Okay. I think you're there.
And have we got some people with us?
Not yet. So maybe just make
Okay.
small talk.
Well,
Start
we
talking about the. Well, hey, what happened? Oh.
we think we're live here. So when people start to chime in and write things, then we'll know for sure that we're live. Okay. So Jill's telling me here from the control room that we are live now. Okay. How's it feel to be live? Big show, coast to coast, man. Coast to coast. Even have one person that listens from Siberia.
Oh, really?
All right.
So, I wonder if they're doing chicken tractors up there. I don't know.
Probably not.
No. So what was your day like today? You could go one at a time, but I think this is kind of interesting because Crystal, you stay at home on the farm, right? And Lee, you're working off for right now. So
Yeah.
go ahead and tell us what your day was like and what you engaged in.
Well, we got outside about 6:15 today because we had 2 sows harvested this morning. So Seth, the man that helps us harvest, came here at about 8 o'clock this morning. Before he came, we were out in the barn and we were milking goats and getting some of our morning chores done before he got here. And then he got here pretty much right at 8 and we got started with the pigs. I think he left
about 9:30 almost. He was here for an hour and a half. Yeah. Got the 2 pigs all skinned and split in half and got in the bed of the truck. Crystal brought them to the butcher shop. I took off. I mean, I was here this morning helping out a little bit because it's always nice to have extra hands of doing that stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, then I don't know, sitting at work. It's not, and it's not very busy, so it's kind of hard to even go there with my mind on spring's coming, wanting to get the garden set up, get some other projects tidied up before the rush of summer comes. So
yeah, I mean, on a daily basis, we're usually up about 6 o'clock and we're going to bed about 10:30. So
Okay.
that's our daily schedule. But after I brought the pigs, I came home and I finished all my chores, chickens. I had, then Lee came back at noon because we had to switch out trucks. Because our older truck has a topper, so we like to use that for transporting live animals. So I picked up a calf today, brown Swiss calf. So we're gonna, every year we like to get new calf pairs and then we raise them for 2 years. That way we have a beef harvest every year. So I picked up 1 calf today and I'm gonna pick up 2 more in the beginning of April. So the 4 cows we have now will harvest this December, and then we'll grow out the ones we get in the spring for the years coming. So I left here at like 1:30 and I picked that cow up. I was home like 3 o'clock, and then I have like half an hour to an hour to kind of do some inside stuff. And then I usually start evening chores about 4 o'clock, and we milk goats at 5:30, and we try to be pretty consistent with that. So we work 5:30 in the morning and 5:30 in the evening. And then this time of year, we try to be inside about this time so we can cook dinner and kind of do some office stuff and try and unwind a little bit until tomorrow.
yeah.
But our days are usually pretty full. We're usually pretty tired, by the end of the day. The whole virus thing hasn't affected anything with us. If anything, we're probably a little bit busier right now because, people are stocking up on eggs and stuff like that. So
Yeah. I kind of can't believe how busy it's been this year. It's noticeably busier than last year. It's pretty amazing at this time of year. It's usually kind of pretty slow, but
yeah. Yeah,
It's going pretty good.
yeah. I already have seeds planted. We're trying to get some early spinach and lettuce going. We got a tube bender in the mail today. We're gonna use that to make like mini hoops so we can do our early greens under frost cloth, and then we'll switch out the frost
Yeah.
cloth to like a bug netting in the summertime. So
Okay.
yeah, I don't know, pretty
Trying some new stuff.
busy.
All right, well, let me cut in on you a little bit. I let you go a little bit there while people are coming in. Usually people start coming in pretty heavily at like 5 past 8.
Okay.
But so we got probably a pretty good group in there right now. So I would like to introduce to the tribe. This is a couple of tribe members. Crystal Brummins and Lee Witt. And they
Witty,
are husband and wife. What?
Oh, Witty.
Lee Witty.
Witty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I've been saying wit all this time then.
Oh,
Sorry about that.
oh, no, it's fine. It's,
All right.
that's the norm.
Crystal and Lee run a farm in Dalton Township, which is down in Muskegon County. And the name of the farm is Hidden Creek Farm. And I have personally been there and seen the way that they farm, and I'm pretty impressed with it. It's really very tidy, very innovative, clean, you know, and they work hard and they stay with it. So I was really impressed. And I don't get too impressed too easy, honestly, because I've kind of seen a lot of farms, but I was really impressed with how intricate you had that place set up and how many things you were doing on a relatively small piece of property. How many acres have you got there?
Almost 18. It's like 17 3/4 or something like that.
Okay. So the part that I saw was just the front part, and it looked like, is there more in the back that I didn't see?
Yeah, like our house is pretty much right in the middle of the property. And then behind us, there's the pond, which is, I don't know, half an acre pond or something like that with an island. I actually have a Google Maps thing on here too, if we wanted to. I can always maybe try and screen share it if we wanted to. I can just do an overview of it if we wanted, but then there's
All right.
kind of like a little swampy area, and then it's kind of a wooded area out back, but we're trying to get some more pasture going back there.
Okay. Well, I think it's a testimony to the fact that you don't need a large tract of land. I mean, under 20 acres is pretty conservative, and you don't need a large tract of land to really run a full service diversified farming operation. So if we could start off, I mean, you just went through and told us what you do on a daily basis, the time you get up, and what you did today as far as processing a sow. But how about if we start off by explaining all the different processes that you do, you know, in a little bit of detail. What I'd like to do is culminate with how we met and things like that. But you can explain to the audience all of the things that you do on that 18 acres and give people an idea of how many customers you service and things like that. Because this is an example, this is truly an example of what you can do. And these people have done it, and I've seen it with my own eyes. So this is good testimony right here, tribe. If you could pull off half of what these guys have done, you'd be doing really well. So go ahead, take your time.
Well, I guess I'll start with, it's always good to have a vision, kind of what you want to happen in your mind, and then just kind of work towards that goal. I mean, on a daily basis, things don't always go how we plan around here, but that's part of being a farmer, is you're smart and you know how to kind of correct the problems and mistakes that happen on a daily basis. So what we offer, like right now, just throughout the year, I'll just kind of go through kind of the stuff we have in our brochure that we offer. We do lots of broiler chickens. This year, we're going to be doing about 1,200 broilers on this property. We're going to run all those in the front of the property, probably on like a 3-acre area, I would say. So we have 9 chicken tractors that we built, and we will run chickens as soon as the weather warms up, from the spring until the late fall. And we'll harvest, multiple times during the year. Our batches are usually about 100 to 200 birds at a time that we're harvesting. And then we also have a mobile chicken coop that Lee has built. It's on a hay wagon frame. It's all off grid, so it has a solar panel on the top, and then it has an LED light bar in there to turn on at a certain time at the night. And also has like an automatic door actuator that closes at night, so we don't have to go out there and close it in case possums and foxes come. We have a herd share that we run. So right now we're milking 10 goats, and we have 4 more does due here, so we're going to be milking 14 does. So we do that 5:30 in the morning, 5:30 at night. We have the herd share going most of the year. We do have to dry off some of the girls right before they freshen, so about 2 months before they kid, we'll dry everybody off.
How many do we have on the herd share right now?
How many people are on our herd share? We have over 50 people on our herd share. So I think Monday is our busiest day right now. We have about a dozen people that come on Monday to pick up their herd share, and we also offer like egg shares. So some people get their milk and eggs together. Some people just get eggs. And then we have beef. We always harvest beef late in the year, like December. Everything is, all of our ruminant animals, so beef, goat, lamb, that's all 100% grass fed. And then all of our lamb, we have, our ram is a St. Croix, and then all of our ewes are Katahdin. That's all also grass fed. We usually harvest sheep twice a year, between 9 and 10 months of age. And then goats, about the same. We harvest all of our bucks 9 to 10 months of age. We do rabbits. We do them in the summer. We do them in rabbit tractors, so similar to a chicken tractor, but you just pull it along the ground. It's just kind of like a wood rectangle. Doesn't have wheels on or anything, just has like a pole handle, but it works really good. We raise Rex rabbits and silver fox rabbits. Those are really good heritage breeds. We're just real happy with their performance. Gosh, what else do we do? Oh, we do turkeys, broad-breasted bronze turkeys. So we'll offer those in the fall. I don't usually even advertise turkeys because we only do like a small batch, about 50, and everybody wants turkey. So it's just kind of like a word of mouth type thing. And then pigs. Yep. So last year we raised up 16 pigs. This year we're going to be doing between 20 and 30 pigs. So pretty much anybody that's ever ordered pork from us, they really love it. So they just reorder every year. And it's really nice to have, the happy, consistent customers. Let's see here. I feel like I'm forgetting something. We do a lot of produce. We have our garden is about, was it 3/4 of an acre?
No, I measured it the other day. It's like maybe a half an acre max or something like that.
Yeah.
But you can produce a lot of stuff on that big of an area. So
yeah, that's our front garden, and then we have all around our pond. We have other plots of asparagus and rhubarb. strawberries, all kinds of stuff. We also do cut flowers all throughout the summer, usually like June through first frost. So I don't know, is there something I'm forgetting?
I don't
All
think
right.
so. I think that's pretty, I think that covers most of the gamut.
Yeah, we have, we sell honey.
Oh, yeah.
We
Yeah.
do maple syrup in the spring.
You got. You have bees? I didn't see bees.
No, we have them, there's a guy that brings them in
Yeah,
and does that, but then we get we can buy honey or whatever, get at a, I don't know.
yeah, he brings in, last year he brought in 4 pallets and there was 4 hives per pallet. And I think he's gonna do about the same this year, but he puts those in the back of the property out by where we run the cows, and it worked out pretty good. So I think we're gonna do that again. We used to have hives, but we just needed to loosen up some of our time because, I mean, bees do take time. You do have to maintain them. So we just felt better if we could have someone bring in the hives and take care of them.
Okay. You know, I do the same thing. I do not have bees, but we have a guy locally that brings a whole bunch of pallets here and
Yeah.
sets
Yeah.
them up, and then
Yeah.
we get quite a bit of the honey from him at a good rate.
All right, well, I'm ready with, to pep you with a couple of questions. First of all, how old are you guys?
I'm 28.
And I'm 30.
Okay. And how long have you been doing this at the location you're at?
Since we moved in December of 2014.
So we're talking 6 years or so?
Yeah, 5, 6 years.
Yeah.
Five full years.
Yeah, this will be our 6th year, right?
Right. I don't know.
Sounds like it. Okay, so how much of what I saw there that you had put together, how many of those processes were there when you got there?
None.
None. There's no garden. I mean, there was some fencing up. They had horses here before,
Yeah.
but we redid a lot of fencing and added lines because the goats, they could, need to get lower lines so they don't get out and stuff like that. But
Okay, well, what I'm trying to get at is, from my point of view, and I tend to get a lot done. I try to get a lot done. You've accomplished a lot there. You really
Yeah.
have accomplished a lot. And, did either of you come from a farm family?
No.
no,
No.
yeah.
That right there is a pretty huge thing for the tribe, because a lot of us didn't come from farm families,
Mm-hmm.
and it's testament that anyone can farm, right?
That's right.
Yeah. We didn't come
Okay,
from
so-
farming backgrounds, but we did come from a background of hard work, so we understand what hard work is.
Okay. And I guess what you're saying is you can apply that to farming, you could apply that to whatever you decided to land on.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you work hard, that's probably 8 of the puzzle is the hard work part of it.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. This is easy. All right. Can you share with us some of your teachable moments, things that you did that you learned from, maybe that didn't work out so great, maybe some failures. Share with us some failures.
Well, we definitely learned a lot about building things, building how to use your mind to
Well, yeah, but I don't know, just the first thing I ever built here was our mobile chicken, like our egg tractor.
Mobile.
Yeah, eggmobile. And that, looking at it now, it's not my best work. But as we've grown here, everything that I've done now just seems to go easier and comes together nicer. Like you've built enough things that your mind sees things, shortcuts and stuff to make things stronger. So if anything, just always take your time to kind of plan something out to make it, to make it good. But at the same time, just got to kind of go for it, and you'll learn as you go. I mean, get as much information as you can from other people that have done it. But at the same time, once you get into it, your mind will start to work and figure things out.
Yeah, and if you make a mistake that it's still learning, then
Yeah.
you know not to do that. And you usually don't forget something if you make a mistake, right?
Yeah. That's a real teacher.
Yeah.
So that's it? It doesn't sound like no major tracks.
No, I mean, we've had animals get out before, like you forget to shut a gate, silly stuff like that.
Oh man.
I don't know, geez. Like our chicken processing goes twice or 3 times as fast now. Our chicken plucker that we made used to be belt driven, and it was a real pain in the butt because about every batch you had to put a new belt on this thing because it would stretch out and it wouldn't tension tight enough anymore. And you'd be in the middle of harvesting broilers, and all of a sudden the plucker's not spinning anymore because it doesn't have enough tension on the belt. And it's really frustrating because you got these scalded chickens that need to be plucked, and here they are getting cold, so Lee put a gear drive on there, and we can do
6 birds at a time now in that plucker, instead of like we were doing like 3 at a time before.
yeah
We could put six chickens in there, and man, it doesn't even bog it down. It just keeps on trucking. So
we can put turkeys in there now.
You didn't really mention before, you are doing your own processing.
Yeah.
What other?
our chickens and rabbits we process ourselves.
Turkeys, chickens,
Oh, yeah.
rabbits, ducks, and then like we'll do our own cut up on goat and stuff like that.
So you do have a play you can cut, or you open air?
It's open air.
Oh,
He must have lost his internet.
yeah, it's starting to get spotty there.
Wait,
Yeah. Where does it say that?
Can you hear me?
I got
Oh,
Can you hear me?
it's spotty.
This is a real good interview. This is real work into. How about now?
Oh, there it goes. Now I can see you again.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
All right. Well, I was saying to you, this is a really easy interview because you're the real thing. This is definitely the real thing right here. This isn't somebody that's, and I'm not saying that someone that is learning is not the real thing, but you are really doing this thing. And I think I'm really impressed with your well-roundedness and your willingness to do things that other people just aren't willing to do. So that's really good. I got another question here. Okay. Not too many, I just got a message here. Okay. Not too many train wrecks. All right. I know when I've interviewed other people, or if somebody were to interview me, I've got a long list of things that I thought I knew what I was doing. Turned out I really didn't know what I was doing and really had a big problem with it. But you not so much. So that's good. You talked a little bit about with turkeys. You said we don't really advertise much and it's just kind of word of mouth. Well, I think for somebody that hasn't done turkeys before and hasn't even processed them, 50 birds is a lot. That's a big bite.
Yeah, that is because they're bigger and stronger than a chicken. It's pretty amazing how much power they have after you actually cut them. It's pretty intense.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you because we do several hundred of them in the fall, and you know, a 30-pound bird, it fights you,
Yeah.
you know, and they have talons on them and they can
Yeah.
good. So I've had my problems there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scratched by those guys, but we figured out a way to do it now that works pretty well. But I wanted to touch a little bit more on the advertising part of things because I think that may be one of the keys. Now you've got a business set up. 6 years you've been operating there. You're moving a lot of goat milk, a lot of broilers, a lot of produce, cut flowers, beef, a lot of pigs. I was surprised how many pigs you're doing on that small of an area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then 50 turkeys, which I can tell you is a lot of work. That's a ton of work, and it takes a long time to grow them. We usually get ours in like June.
Yeah.
To go by. All right, so when you started, what did it look like? You know, what did day one look like? And can you give us a thumbnail sketch of day one and, you know, what processes you added on? Because I'm thinking that you didn't start out doing all those things at the same time.
Right.
Like, where did you begin?
So when we moved here, it was winter, so I had started ripping out the kitchen on the third day that we lived here, and I think when Lee came home, I had almost all the cabinets down. So I just basically went to town. I knew that we wanted to work on the house a little bit first, because once the farm got busy, we were not going to have time to do that. So in the first year, we had the whole kitchen gutted. We had taken down walls. Crazy. We had just cement floors in here, basically. And I had my own business at that time. It was a welding business. So we did different art shows all over Michigan. So our first year was very busy. So that summer I had done 15 art shows, and I was in about a dozen retail locations. So basically we were juggling those two things because we needed money to start up the farm. We needed income to build our foundation. So
these are what she made. These are like spoons, and then the handles here.
So yeah, it's spoon flowers is what I did. I made magnets and big flowers, little flowers, all kinds of stuff. And I was in stores like Frederick Meyer Gardens and Grand Rapids, just all kinds of stuff. But I would get up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I would drive across the state to like Detroit, and I would set up for an art show, and I would do the art show during the day. They usually got over between like 3 and 5 o'clock, and then I'd usually drive home that night. So it was crazy. Looking back, I tell Lee, I don't know how we did all that, because we don't rest. And my mom yells at me. My mom yells at me all the time, and she says, "You're gonna hurt yourself. You're gonna wear yourself out." But I have all these goals in mind that I want to reach, and we do our best at getting there, so.
I guess like to get to what you were saying, our first thing was our mobile our egg mobile. That was the first, like, I think in February when the snow was, I think the winter wasn't too hard then. I think February I was outside putting that egg cart together. And that was kind of our first main thing. I think we might have got our first 2 goats or something like that too.
Yeah, so our first year we got
Yeah.
some egg layers, we got a couple sheep, and we got 3 milking goats, and we got a couple bottle calves. We did some broilers. We experimented between Cornish Cross and Freedom Rangers. It was a lot of experimenting, so we wanted to figure out what we liked to do, because if you're gonna do it every day, you need to like it. So we kind of dabbled in a little bit of everything, and then we started to cut back on the things we didn't enjoy anymore, or we just didn't connect with, and we focused on the things that we liked more, we just had a better experience with. So I mean, I would say to somebody new getting into it, just to kind of experiment a little bit and see where your talents are. But yeah, the first year was insane. I don't really, I don't know.
Yeah, we did kind of jump, because our first home, we did make a little bit of money on our first house.
Yeah.
So we had enough money to kind of jump on in and try a whole bunch of things out.
Yeah, this house was at the very top of our price range when we were looking for homes. Our first house we worked on for like 6 months before we moved in. It was in Spring Lake, Michigan. And we did, I mean, I put so much work, we both did. I mean, I painted everything on inside and I painted the whole outside of the house. I mean, we had realtors coming to our door and saying, man, this place, what did he say?
Looks crisp.
Yeah.
He wanted, like, do you guys want to sell that place or
Well,
whatever? I can sell it for you.
You know
It's like,
what was funny, Mark? When that guy came to our door, I opened the door and he said, hi, are your parents home? And I just laughed and I said, this is our house. And then he kind of stood there for a minute and I think he felt pretty stupid. And then he kind of went on with his spiel, so that's happened to me 3 times. People ask for my parents, when they come even here sometimes. So that's, I don't know how to take that, but I guess it's a good thing.
Well, that's good. I know I still get carded sometimes, my youth.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. This is quite a testimony here. This is really good. I think that the people in the tribe are interested in this type of thing. Where are they going to jump in? And it's nice to hear somebody else's story, where they jumped in and how they jumped in. Because I think you and I are kind of cut from the same cloth. I dove in and then I started digesting
Yeah.
reference materials.
Right.
So what can you recommend for reference materials? What is it? Videos, books, what?
I would say both. I mean, honestly, our best teacher was just experience, because you're going to remember that kind of stuff. You can read all the books you want, but you might not retain that information until you actually get your hands on something. That's how I learn. I can read stuff in a book, but I'm not going to remember it until I actually do it myself. So
yeah, YouTube, I mean,
you can watch YouTube videos. I mean, if you find farmers that you're really connecting with, you can watch their videos, but you have to be careful. I mean, anybody can put stuff on YouTube, so it might not always be the best information.
Yeah, just, it can kind of maybe give you a little hint here or there, but kind of maybe take the accumulation of everything and make it work for your process, But that's kind of how we got started. YouTube, and I mean a little bit of like Joel Salatin, some of his stuff. That's how, and sounded really good the way he was doing it. So
Yeah.
let's kind of follow that model.
We had a friend too in Grand Haven that we helped a little bit when they would need help processing chickens and stuff like that. But that was
Yeah.
for a short period of time. So it was nice to be able to get hands-on and learn that way.
Okay. That's very inspirational. This whole testimony is inspirational. Okay, so this is a little bit different. We're going to take a turn here, but I think this is important. I think people want to know about this. So if you would explain how we met and why we met and things like that, if you would begin this story. And I think this is an important part for people to get, because right now, one of the things that looms over young farmers' head is there seems to be an environment where if you do the wrong thing, you're going to get electrocuted. You know, it shouldn't be that way, but we're dealing with it's a strange time, you know, for small farms. I think strange time in history. And then you wound up in a place that was a little bit unfamiliar. And if you just tell us about that, I think it'd be good.
Okay, so when we first started the farm, I had learned about, you know, your lawsuit and Randy's lawsuit, and I had watched a lot of your guys' videos on kind of like the progression of things and how it was changing, how you farmed and affecting your personal life. So that's when I knew that was always a possibility, but it never stopped us from continuing on. So after our lawsuit became reality, that's when I called you personally for advice, because it's very scary when you've never been in a situation like that before and you don't know what the outcome's going to be. So that's how we met you. Is I called you on the phone very randomly one day, and I was very emotional.
I remember.
Because I think I had to call you back because I just couldn't hold myself together, and there was customers here, and I had volunteers in the garden, and it was crazy. So that's how we met you, and we met a lot of other good people through, you know, this bad time. So I'm very grateful for that. You know, we made a lot of good connections that way. I mean, you're always somebody that we looked up to. So it was just really nice to put a personality, you know, to your face and
meet face to face.
And get to become friends, you know, through this process. But
what was the other part? I guess I don't remember the other part of the question, I guess.
How about Lee, if you tell us, you know, what this was about. What was this conflict about? Who initiated a conflict with you and why?
Well, the initial, so we had a succulent sale. I don't know, I think it was Mother's Day or something like that. It was our first one. And it got pretty dang busy. People were, we didn't really expect it to be like that. We thought we could, you know, it would, you know, kind of flow in and out, but people started ending up parking on our road on both sides of the road. Then it got far enough where it went past our neighbor's house, who is the one trying to sue us. He started getting kind of yelling at some people, and then I guess he ended up complaining to the township. And I think from what I've heard, because I think that was on a weekend, and so nobody was at the township to answer his call. And then he got to thinking that they weren't going to do anything, so he ended up just getting a lawyer and getting his ball rolling, even though we had no idea of any of this. He didn't come over and ask us what the heck was going on or anything like that. I mean, that day I was trying to help park and get people off the road. I seen 2 sheriffs go by and they didn't even stop. So apparently there wasn't a problem, because if there was a problem, the sheriffs would have stopped in and said, hey, what the heck's going on?
Okay.
We need
Let me
to
just stop you real quick here. Now, just to clarify for the audience, this is in 2019, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so you lived next door to this neighbor since you started the place in 16 or 14?
14.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, and had you had problems with him at all?
No,
No.
he actually came and rototilled our garden the first
year.
and second year.
Okay. So
Yeah.
out of the blue, because he perceived a parking problem, he decided to sue you, but he didn't sue you for a parking problem. He sued you for your farming operation. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
yeah, because we were running pigs on the property line toward, in between his house and our house, right on the property line of ours. And then, but he never, I didn't even know there was a problem, no communication was brought to us about any issues going on. And I mean, we had pigs, I think even the first year.
Yeah, the first year we had pigs in that field and we never had any complaints. I mean, we even invited this man to our wedding, so I don't know.
Yeah, he didn't come, but
Yeah.
we invited him, but yeah, there was no warning signs.
Okay, so then the township got involved. Can you tell me, and this is where I met you the night that, the evening of the day that you called, and that is correct. Crystal called me and she got so upset explaining it to me that she said, I gotta go, I'll call you back. And it kind of upset me. And so she called back and I said, well, we should meet face to face, because honestly, I had to figure out if you were legit, if you guys were legit.
Yeah.
And I remember that night you showing up here, the both of you, and I didn't like the looks that I saw on your faces. It didn't look good. It looked like you were very distressed.
Yeah.
All right, so tell us how the township got involved. This is Dalton Township in Muskegon County, by the way. Oh.
Yep.
The township got involved because of Ken's complaint to the township. They felt like they needed to kind of like support their residents, I guess.
Well, and because it was a zoning ordinance that they were saying we were breaking.
Okay.
So that's how they got involved, and then they kind of commingled together with that.
Right.
Okay, and they hauled you in, didn't they, Crystal?
Yeah, so I don't remember so much stuff went on. I don't remember the exact timeline, but I remember I had a friend over and I was at my other neighbor's house, who is a nice elderly man, and we do some gardening together. He has a small greenhouse that I start seeds in. And I was over there, and I don't always have good service here, so sometimes like a voicemail will come in all of a sudden. So I opened up my phone and I listened to a voicemail, and there was like 4 messages on there, and they were the township lawyer and Ken's lawyer. And then one of our customers works for the court system, and she had called me to warn me and let me know that both of those lawyers were there, and it looked like they were going to be filing something. So as fast as I could, I got into my truck. I went to the courthouse and I was so scared. I was shaking. There's actually, I think, like 4 floors to this courthouse. And thank God I had a friend with me, because we got in the elevator and I was so scared that when the door opened, I just started getting out of the elevator, and he grabbed me by my coat and pulled me back in. And he said, this isn't the right floor, So I just, it's like I was so scared I wasn't even like acting properly. My mind wasn't working. I was in a fear mode. So we got into the courtroom and we sat there for like 2 hours, I think, while they were prosecuting, you know, people on drugs, people beating their children, just terrible things like people,
Committing crimes.
yeah.
Yeah, committing crime. Yeah.
So that's my first time I've ever been in a courtroom.
Okay. But then you found out that the township actually wanted you to do something, right?
Yeah,
What was that?
they wanted us to stop farming.
Okay. And they also want you to start getting permits from them?
Yeah,
Yeah, they ended up making all of a sudden out of the blue a
Yeah.
special permit
Yeah.
if we wanted to do another succulent sale at our residence here.
Well, yeah, so in 2018, we had an ox roast, and my mom had contacted the township to see if
Oh,
any event permits were needed, and the lady had told her no. So then the spring of 2019, I got a letter in the mail one day that said, you know, congratulations, we have invented an event permit and we're so excited to show it to you, and it's, you know, $50 and all this stuff, and I just threw it in the trash.
Okay, so how did this turn out? Tell us how it turned out with the township.
So the township is no longer involved in the lawsuit.
which I think you were kind of a big help in that. You brought the story to light on, you know, on Facebook by doing multiple reports on what was going on here.
Yeah.
And we rallied a lot of people together and got to the next board meeting at the township to say, why are you taking this farm to court? I mean, look at these kids doing this great stuff for this community, and you're trying to take them out. So a lot of people came to our side from all over Michigan. I mean, you were there that night. I can't even believe how many I think there was more people from out of town than there was from Dalton Township, but I think that got enough attention that there's a lot of people in Dalton Township that are pissed off about how the board or whatever is operating there. So
Yeah.
All right, so let me ask you this. If they could have forced you to get permits and they could have forced you to stop your farming operation, would they have?
I guess I don't understand. So if they, what do you mean if they could have?
If they could have. I mean, they didn't because you're still farming
yeah.
and you never did get any permits from them.
Mhm.
But if they could have, like if you had broken a law, if they had the authority to stop you, would they have?
I would imagine so.
So what was it that held them back? Can you
I
know what held them back?
I think there was a couple things. I mean, obviously the big one was the amount of people that spoke up. I mean, because there's a farm there. Well, there was a farm just a couple roads down from us, and they were across from elementary school, and they had pigs. And I guess the neighbor decided that they wanted to put their house on the market. And all of a sudden one day they were taking pictures of this lady's pigs, and they were telling her what a mess it was, and that they're not going to get any money for their home because your mess is depleting the value of my property. So I remember one day when Seth, our processor, was here, and he said, yeah, I have a big job right now, just a couple roads down. I'm killing all this lady's pigs because the township said that they can't have pigs anymore. So I've actually talked to this lady a couple times. She's come, and Dalton Township did the same thing, took her to court, and they didn't have any support or knowledge. So they lost that battle, and now they don't have any pigs on that property.
Okay.
But I think the the big part was people coming together and supporting us. And
Putting pressure on the board.
yeah, and the second thing was the meetings that I went to for the Right to Farm Act, because the verbiage that they added to the Right to Farm Act that day was directly in our reply to the township, and that's what the township agreed to. So anything that the Right to Farm Act will allow us to do, we can do.
Yeah,
Which is all silly.
yeah, after going through this, you know, the right to farm, I mean, yeah, that's kind of a given. I mean, why do we need an act to say, hey, you can put some stuff in the ground and grow it? I mean, like, what? After going through this, you know, it just seems, you can see the absurdity of some of these things of why do we need to ask permission to do the things we're doing?
Yeah.
Right. If this worked for you, I mean, you've prevailed against the township, and I don't think they're going to tangle with you anymore, right? And I know that from talking to other folks, actually Jeff Alexander, who's running for office, and Lee is actually running for office in the township as well, which good on you, man. I mean, that's putting your money where your mouth is.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think Ken's gonna think of that if Lee is Dalton Township trustee?
Okay, for the viewing audience, Ken is the next door neighbor.
Yeah.
He's just the crotchety old guy that decided to sue his neighbor because he didn't like what his neighbor was doing. But he's gonna lose. He's gonna lose because in this country, we have something that's called the U.S. Constitution.
Yeah.
And the Fifth Amendment guarantees your process protection under due process of law. So unless you're doing something illegal on your farm, you're okay, you know? And so he's going to lose. I'm sorry that it had to get drawn out as far as it did. But the point I'm trying to draw out of you is the township, and I think this is probably what happened with the lady with the pigs. They hauled you in, Crystal, and they scared you. They scared you. And at one point you told me they brought you behind closed doors. There was 2 men and a woman, and they closed the door.
Yeah.
You told me that they wanted you to get a permit.
Yeah.
In order to have your succulent sale and pretty much start bowing down to them if you wanted to do something. That they wanted you to come ask them first, and you told them no, and you left, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that took a ton of courage, and that's why it's so important to give this testimony as to what you did, because if you can do this as a United States citizen that you are, both of you, then any other United States citizen can do this. It might not go as well, but you had a lot of sleepless nights, and I know that. I mean, you were walking through some pretty deep waters. When I look back on what I went through, you know, you're heading out to sea, and you don't know how deep it's going to get.
Yeah.
You know, and then all of a sudden it starts to get shallow, and then you're on dry land again, right? And you look back and you say, well, it wasn't all that bad, you know. But if you haven't been through it, the unknown is pretty scary, right?
Yeah.
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 So it's real important that you give this testimony so people can hear this. The townships, a lot of government townships, a lot of the departments operate like wolves. They will pull people out individually, and they will scare them, they will intimidate them, and they will lie to them. And a lot of times small farmers wind up capitulating and, you know, are glad to get out of there with their firstborn still intact, you know, if you listen to what they say. But I'm glad you did what you did. And I believe with what I have heard about this incident through several people down in your area, that it was the fact that the township realized that you were going to hit that press to test button of constitutional rights, and they did not want to tangle with that. So, I mean, we'll see. We don't know what's in their hearts, but they have backed off, and I don't think they're going to tangle with you again. I really don't.
We're hopeful that our new candidates for supervisor and trustee positions, will take over those positions, and a lot of residents won't have to worry about these kinds of things anymore. So I would definitely encourage people to try and change things at your local level.
Yeah.
So, I just had a great question, but I forgot it. About that. But, so you refused to comply with the wishes of the township. I just want to ask you your opinion. All right. You have township that would be a pretty low level of government, and then you have the county, and then you have state, and then you have federal, right? Is that pretty close?
Yeah.
To how the hierarchy works of government. So in your opinion, does the township have the authority to violate your constitutional rights?
No.
No.
Well, what makes you say that? Because they certainly told you that they did.
Well, I guess, yeah, like at the beginning, yeah, you almost not knowing it, you think they do, but oh gosh, I just lost what I was going to try and say now too. I'm not
Well,
sure.
you hadn't been down that road before, had you?
No.
No.
So that's, like anything that you do the first time, whether it's a welding project or chicken tractors or anything, the first time you do it, the unknown, that's where all the devil is. There in the unknown, the
Yeah.
things that can bite you.
Yeah.
And I think the viewing audience might understand that you get a phone call and you're summoned to the courthouse, and you're put in a courtroom, and you have to listen to all these proceedings of criminal things, and then you have lawyers that are talking to you and a judge that's talking to you, and you're just like, hey, I'm just growing food here.
Yeah.
I'm really, you guys are stars, really, because not only did you put this operation together, you put this operation together and got it functioning, but then you defended it. And you defended it in a way that you didn't know what was going to happen. I mean, they were telling you that terrible things could happen to you. Can you explain some of the things that your township said would happen to you? And please explain what your neighbor is trying to do to you. The audience should know that process is shut down because of coronavirus, and we probably won't know the outcome of that for about 3 weeks. But the township, they dropped it. So victory,
Yeah.
Lee and Crystal, victory. What did they say they were going to do to you if you didn't do what they told you?
The township said that we can't have a farm here. So they were saying that, all these things that we have are not allowed. So basically we need to get rid of them.
Yeah, cease and desist.
Yeah. And our neighbor is asking for $75,000. We're not exactly sure where the number came from, but he's also asking for us the same thing as the township was, that we are not allowed to have any type of farming activity on the property. So basically we'd have to move.
Okay. Well, I would hope that the viewing audience would look at this soberly, but just on its face, I look at this and I say, you know, you have a neighbor on one side of you and you have a neighbor on the other side. And they have processes that they engage in. I don't know what those are, but everybody has processes that they do, whether it's they mow the lawn at a certain time of day, or
Yeah.
you know, they lay out in their bikini, or they people do stuff, you know, they do stuff. How would it be if you sued your neighbor to stop the processes that he does?
If
How would
I,
that be?
if I tried to sue my neighbor for fertilizing his lawn and spraying mosquito spray all over his yard.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it would never stand up to, you know, the
No.
court of law. Yeah.
So how did we exactly get to the point where growing food, farming, is a questionable, you know, process? It could be okay, but maybe it isn't. Maybe I ought to check with somebody to see if it's okay. How did we get here, in your opinion?
Years of brainwashing and people relying on convenience items and becoming severely disconnected with a healthy lifestyle. That's what I would say.
All right.
What about
All
you?
right. We've had several people that have called in with questions, and see if I can beat these without my glasses. This is from Haven. Haven's been with us for a while, and he's also been to my house, and he was actually, you may have met him at the Rogue Food Conference too, Crystal, if you did a little hobnobbing around. He was from the McBain area, but Haven's question at what animals do you process yourself? I think we covered that.
Yeah, right now we process about 1,200 broiler chickens a year, 50 turkeys. We do rabbits. I'm not sure on the number. We do ducks. We do some stewing hens. We do our own goat and lamb. I think that's it.
Okay. So did you go to college to learn this or something?
No.
No.
All right. Just wanted to kind of,
And we had in our class, they're learning how
Oh,
to
yeah.
work. Yeah.
Lee did come to one of
Oh,
our
yeah.
classes up in UP, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I came to your guys' the pig harvest. Yeah, that was awesome.
This is from Lone Star. Lone Star's been with us for quite a while now. Lone Star is a wise guy, right? He
Uh-oh.
likes to stir it up. This is good. How many children do you have?
0.
All right. I may just leave that right there, but I can tell you from my experience, children are an asset. All right. If you're hardworking people and you train your children to be hard, and I said train, yes, you train to be hardworking people, you're doing a service for this country.
Yeah.
This hard work is what has made this country what it is. My friends, I mean, from the UP down that are doing well in farming, they work hard and they enjoy their work, you know, as you guys do. I can tell you enjoy your work. Okay, I got one more question. This is from Tatum. She's been with us now for, I think, a month or maybe 6 weeks, and she actually was here last Friday doing mushrooms. Hey, you need to do mushrooms too. You guys need to get
Yeah,
into
that seemed pretty cool. Those that log video I seen you and your assets drilling holes in those logs that one day.
Well, we had a big train wreck on that one too, and it was totally my fault. You get the memo on that? We used
No.
logs that were just firewood logs, right? And they have to be fresh cut. They gotta be fresh. So there's a lot to that. All right, this is from Tatum. With not having a family farming history, what brought you into this? and to this type of lifestyle? Yeah, with not doing this, what was the draw? What brought you into this lifestyle?
The answer is the food industry, how corrupt everything is, how confused people are about how to be healthy, how confused people are about what they're eating. Just sick of hearing about all the people getting sick or just constantly being ill because of simple changes that they can make. So basically, we just started by making ourselves healthy, and then we wanted to help other people. So we decided to take all this on and grow more.
Okay. You got any input on that, Lee?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you want to, talk about dog or anything.
It's up to you.
I mean, that's one of the things too, at our first house, we started noticing the dog was kind of, putting on weight and stuff. So then we started like giving her less food, but she kept on gaining weight, wondering what's going on. So she ended up having a thyroid problem. So that's what kind of, I think, was the first Kickstarter at our first house. Like, hey, we need to start looking in, and we started changing her diet. So I thought, well, we should be changing our diet. I mean, I used to drink almost like a can of Coke a day. I mean, I'm a pretty skinny dude or whatever, but I mean, I was pretty puffed up, inflamed all the time from all the sugar, and like, I would have almost a can of Coke every day. So, I mean,
Just one can?
One, yeah, or two just sometimes, but I would drink pop almost every day, and just like, now I haven't even had a pop in, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. So, I
never get either. The last thing on my mind.
Yeah, we saw what was happening to the dog, and we wanted to make her life better. So, and then we just continued it with ours and just started cooking ourselves and getting immersed in the whole food production arena. Just want to know where our food is coming from, and the best way to do it is grow it yourself. So
yeah, I agree. Okay, I want to conclude this with one last question, and I'd like to say this. You put a whooping on Dalton Township Supervisor Tony Barnes. You did put a whooping on him, and I know that for a fact. And I'm glad you did that. Guys that bull like that need to be slapped. And coming after people that are wanting to be a productive member.
All right. Yeah, bad service up there.
yeah. I don't know, I think so. Lost him again.
Doing.
Oh.
Ooh, no.
You got a real
He'll be
problem?
back in just a moment.
It'll be back in a moment.
Thanks for waiting.
Yee, wow, that's
Yeah,
bad.
yeah.
Okay, we in? We in?
I can hear you.
Oh,
No.
ah. I'm back.
How about now? We good?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can hear you.
There we go.
Okay. This is a dynamite interview. This really is. You did put a whooping on them, and I'm glad you did. I mean, you could have tucked tail and gone back to welding, And I'm really glad you didn't do that, okay? And I am quite sure that your neighbor is not going to prevail against you. Even if he does, I would blow him off. I would never do what he wants you to do. Let him go do what he's got to do. But I would like to know, and this would be beneficial for our viewing audience, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Okay, 5 years. That's almost half as long as it's almost twice as long as you've been here. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Because I haven't seen, in the tracking that I've done of Hidden Creek Farm, I haven't seen you plateau yet.
Yeah.
Well, all I can say, Mark, is that's an impossible question to answer, but when we bought this property, my feeling about it was that we would be here for, 10, 15 years. Easy, and really support this community. There's not much farming in this area, so people really appreciate what we're doing, and I like our customers, and I like this area. I put so much hard work and heart into this property that it would be hard to leave at this point.
Yeah, the other thing I see is, this year I think so far has been super busy, but I think this year is the year that I might be able to come here full time.
Yeah,
That's kind of the plan. I'm going to be here full time eventually. But we'll have to see how the numbers work out and stuff. But
yeah, the thing that's really holding us up right now, from Lee and I working together, which we would really love to do, is still the lawsuit and the uncertainty of it. We wouldn't want to make a commitment like that until we knew for sure that there wasn't going to be any major obstacle in our way.
Okay. Well, I can tell you that once you stand up to this type of business, you encourage others to do the same. And if they could have got you, they would have. They couldn't. And for the viewing audience, we've talked about the Bill of Rights. We talked about a tomahawk with the Bill of Rights engraved on the handle. And Lee is the machinist that is actually doing that. Oh, I guess he's going to go get that.
He's gonna go get it.
I think it's very appropriate that you receive the first one of those tomahawks, because it's a symbol that you don't have to.
I don't know if you'll be able to see it.
yeah, I don't know if you'll be able to see the
Oh,
words.
I can see it all right.
Closer to the camera.
See if I can.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Can we see the head a little bit?
Yeah. Oh, here, let me take this out.
That is awesome. Oh man, that is going to be so cool to have those things available.
And then I know I showed you that picture of the Anyone Can Farm logo that I made. I'm thinking I know you were talking about maybe doing it on the head, but I think it might still be faster and easier to just do it on the handle. I was going to ask you that the other day, but
I think that'd be all right.
I know
That'd be all right.
Yeah, it'd be cooler and more permanent on the head, but I think just for ease of getting it all done, I think it'd still look pretty good on there. So
Yeah. And we can do as many variants of that as we want. And Crystal, show off your logo on your t-shirt. We just got a good look at that. Haven't been able to really see that. There you go. That looks really good. And you have those t-shirts available, don't you?
Yeah, we have Food Freedom t-shirts also.
yeah, we have tank tops. We have I think men and women's shirts.
Yeah.
We have some hats too. So I don't know.
Yeah, we have hats.
Yeah. Usually I wear that. I wear it every day.
So would you like to give out your contact information if people would like to contact you? I mean, for the tribes people especially, here's your contact right here down in your neck of the woods. I mean, we were able to walk right on their place and look around, and I don't know if you're like we are here, but I don't mind showing people around at all.
Yes.
Yeah, we're open Monday through Saturday from 9 to 6.
Yeah, we try to keep Sundays closed so we can have at least a personal day for ourselves, so
Yeah.
we can
Relax.
get stuff
Maybe.
done without people coming up the driveway or whatever. So we just kind of do stuff and not have to worry about people.
Yeah.
But I mean, Facebook.
How that is. You got a Facebook page then?
Yeah, Facebook page. I think it's just Hidden Creek Farm.
Hidden Creek Farm / Muskegon.
Okay. And what about a website?
Yep, it's www.thehiddencreekfarm.com.
All right, well, let's conclude it here. We've been on over an hour, haven't we? I think this was really productive. I think it's a great story. I think you guys got a lot of bragging rights at this time, and I think you're going to go far. And I am damn glad to have you on the team, and really glad to know you.
Yeah, I'm glad to know. I'm glad we met you too.
Yeah, I mean, we've always had big dreams, so we just need to learn how to deal with the obstacles that come in our way.
Yeah, just keep going forward is all I can say.
This is one that you don't have to do now.
Yeah.
Okay, that'll be it. We will be on tomorrow night. For the rest of the audience, we'll be on tomorrow night at right time, 8 o'clock for our Q&A. And I think, you know, when we add content like the real life, hey, I want this lifestyle, when I got it, it's going to promote questions
Yeah.
that we're going to have when they're saying, hey, I can do this too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody, you think it's doable by just about anybody?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. At some rate. I mean, I don't know as everybody could knock out what you did in 6 years, but at some rate they can do each one of these processes.
Yeah, I don't think the rate matters. Everybody has their own pace. As long as you're happy and you're producing things, then, you know, that's great. You should be happy about that.
Okay. And so you don't feel as though you're working every day on the farm?
You know, the day goes really fast and I'm really tired by the end of the day, but I never think about quitting. You know, we love what we're doing. So, it's great. It's a great way to live. We love it. So, yeah.
Awesome. Great interview, you guys. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you coming on.
Very nice talking, Mike.
Have a good
All right.
night.
See ya.
Sayonara.
See ya.
Now, are you gonna just cut me off, or
Yeah, you can.
I don't see?